Good morning, everyone. Welcome. It's Tuesday, December 30th. Walter Rhein and Nick Paro. I'm Nick Paro. That's Walter Rhein. We're coming for Notes of the Week. It's the end of the year where time means nothing and everybody is doing
Yeah.
whatever is going on this time of year. But Walter and I like to hang out
Yes. Yes.
and use this time to center ourselves and have a good discussion. And I'm excited to have you all with us this morning. Good morning, everyone in the audience, as you start coming on in. Good morning, Walter. How are you today, my friend?
I'm doing good. Like you said, I wrote an article a couple days ago about this weird time of year between Christmas and New Year and how you just kind of recover. And I when I was talking to Will the other day, it's like I've been feeling like the car at the end of the Blues Brothers, where it comes driving in and then it just like stops and then it falls apart. And that's kind of what I feel like. We're kind of like, well, okay, reassess, recover. It's good to have the kids at home. We haven't gone anywhere. We're just the kids are sleeping in late. We're making breakfast for them, and this is watching movies at night. So it's a good time of year.
Yeah, yeah. I like having my kids home. It's fun to have their winter break and be able to work from home. Continue to be able to work from home and do all sorts of fun stuff with them. I've spent time building Legos with my son and
Yeah.
my daughter, and my daughter's been drawing, and my wife's been hanging out and doing embroidery, and we've been crafting and just having fun and building. Um, and it's been so
Yeah.
relaxing. It's needed because my brain was fried. Like
Yeah.
I put a note out last week. That's not my note of the week, which was like, "Yeesh, I'm tired." Like every day feels like a month. Like
Yeah.
every week feels like a year right now. It's so tiring. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
and we
Yeah.
need to rest and recuperate because I don't think this next year is going to get any less exhausting.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, we got purpose now, I guess, but the fight is still there, so
yeah,
I guess we know what we're
and
in for.
Yeah. And so what Walter and I have decided to do. Good morning, everyone. As you start coming on in, hey, we've got our friends in the chat, as all of our friends who keep coming in. Good morning, Kimmy, Sushi, Courtney, Caro, Heidi, Karen, Canadian girl with a U. I like it.
Yeah.
Deborah, Erica. I didn't see all the names come on in. Um, Courtney, I think I said your name already. But everyone, welcome. Thanks for being with us. If you're here on the Substack side, thank you for those who are here on either the YouTube or Twitch side. It's great to have all of you with us. And it's great to be able to have these discussions with Walter
Yeah.
every week. And one of the things I did last week and want to start doing every week or as we go. And I've invited guests who are also going to share in this fun adventure of like sitting back and remembering is to share some of our kids' art and creativity. And so before we get into my kids stuff, I got a couple new Lego sets.
Oh, nice. Love the Lego sets. Yeah. Oh
I
gosh.
got Gizmo.
Yeah, don't get him wet. Yeah.
Yeah, don't get him wet. But his ears are big and they move, and he could have been standing. He's
Oh
got the little
boy.
glasses. He could have been standing, but I chose to
Make him
build him in
stink.
the sitting
That's
position.
safer. He'll last
Uh,
longer sitting. Yeah.
oh yeah. So wanted to show this little guy off.
That's great.
Did I just see we have somebody from Switzerland with us? Oh, that's awesome.
Neat.
Welcome, international friends. It's
Yeah.
so cool to have you guys with us. Glad
Oh
you
yeah,
found
thanks for tuning in. Thanks for giving us a chance. We're trying to make a better America here, and we're sorry for the one that we have. Holy cow.
Yeah, and we're just trying to make a better example for men and for boys to be able to follow, and for ourselves to be able to
Yeah.
follow and learn from. Um, this
Build
isn't just
Legos with
about,
your kids. Yeah, that's a
yeah.
that's a good rule right there. Making Legos, it's actually as easy as that, honestly.
So So our Legos are stored inside giant Legos. We bought storage bins
Oh, nice.
that are like 10 inches wide for for the pull-out drawer that look like two by four bricks, Lego bricks.
Neat.
Make two by two Lego brick version ones, but we got two by fours, and we stack them and build Legos with our Lego storage um, stuff. We have like tens of thousands of Legos in our house, and I know
Nice.
we have tens of thousands because I have the Eiffel Tower set, which is 10,001
Oh
pieces.
boy.
So everything after that is now in the tens of thousands. Um,
Yeah. Yep.
that one fell down. My dogs accidentally knocked it over, so I have to rebuild it. And we're in the middle of beginning to move, so I'm not rebuilding it right now until I get into
Yeah, you got a lot to
my new
do.
house. Yeah,
Yeah.
lot to do, which is exciting. Um, Beth. I'm glad you built the Lego flowers. My
Yeah,
daughter loves those.
my wife does too, those Lego flowers, yeah.
And they're so cool to put on your. They're so neat to just put on your desk. They never
Yep.
die.
Yep. Yep. Put them by
And
the
it's a cool
window.
little piece of artwork.
Yeah.
Thinking about artwork,
Yeah.
Walter
Good segue.
Walter gave, and I have one for my daughter today too. So Walter's daughter, I want you to. Can you talk about this
Oh
piece of
yeah.
art as I bring it up because this is so cool.
Yeah. She's transitioning. All she does is sit around and sketch, and she's transitioning to sketching digitally, so she saves paper. She said though, she's like, you didn't send him the one where I misspelled palette. I'm like, I didn't even notice. It's like, I'm like, it's not a formal document. It's a note to yourself, so that's fine. Yeah, she's been working on these things. She's really one of the things as a dad I've noticed. I've always read to my kids, and she just likes to sit and relax and sketch. And this is another thing about positive masculinity because it's your temptation because we're conditioned to be like, I'm reading to you. You sit eyes forward, legs not moving, pay attention. And I just remembered, some like she's sketching as I'm reading. And then like we went and watched the Willy Wonka movie after reading the book, and it was like the very next day. And she says, "Wait a minute, in the book the boat was blue, and here they're depicting it as red." And I'm just like, so even though she's sitting there sketching, like the details she's absorbing are so intense. And I learned that when I was teaching too. It's like some kids like to just sit and sketch, and they're paying complete 100% attention to you. That's just how they kind of activate their mind. And yeah, our house is just filled with, containers with her sketches, and she'll sit and make like whole comic books. And she's getting better and better. And yeah, she wanted to switch to digital. I'm just like, yeah, just send your digital pictures to me because the featured images are always the hardest part for me when I'm writing an article. So I'll just slap these.
Yeah,
There's the featured image. It's made by her, and you can tell it's not AI. And I think that's what everybody's looking for these days. It's like anything human made, but she does a beautiful job. She's got a couple more things she gave me. She made a paper doll of the character in the book I wrote for them. I'll show you that next week. It's absolutely amazing. So
oh,
yeah,
that's
I'm really
so
proud of
cool.
her. She does great work, and it's beautiful. Makes me happy.
I didn't even think about that. I'll have to take pictures. My daughter likes to make origami claws uh,
Oh wow, yeah, good,
for herself because she's into anime,
nice.
and we're both into anime. I'm in the final season of Naruto, Shippuden, and been watching it all in Japanese with the subtitles. And I didn't realize the final season was like 200 episodes. I was like, oh, I'm nearly done. And then it kept going and going and going and just going. And I'm like, okay, okay, I'm okay with this.
What show is that again?
Naruto,
Okay,
you would love it.
yeah, I'll write it down.
It's so fun. Start with, there's two Narutos. You have to start with not,
Woo, balloons.
darn it, celebration. You have to start with, but I'll celebrate this picture because it's awesome.
Yeah,
You have to start with the one where they're kids, and then you go into Shippuden, which is the one in Japanese and subtitled. You can watch both subtitled in
okay.
Japanese if you want in the originals. Um, but they lead into each other. One is when they're like 8 or 10. The other is when they're like 16, or not quite, but
Nice. Nice.
roughly. There's
I
years. There's a couple years gap in there, and they become teenagers, and it's a much more like it's a it fits really well with the themology of the world that we're in right now and
oh,
fighting
okay.
like to
Yeah,
fight
there's
against hatred and push back and make a better society, a better
oh,
world
good.
where it's more inclusive and more
Yeah,
equitable and like
themes
it's got
everywhere.
really good themology.
You exposed us to Delicious and Dungeon, and my kids have
Oh,
they
so
absolutely love that. Yeah, they asked for little keychains with all the characters,
oh, that's so amazing.
so they could
I
put them on their
love it.
backpacks. Yeah, they loved it.
I love it. That show is so fun.
Yeah, it
Um,
is. It's so
and
weird.
like thinking about artwork, like looping it in with like the digital art that your daughter just did, which is one amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, she
So
did a great job.
when your daughter hears all the praise from all of this, is the artwork's amazing.
Yeah.
Is I tell my daughter too, like because she does digital art. We bought one of the like art apps on the iPad that was like a good, really good quality one. Um, I don't remember the name. It's not Adobe, but it's one of the good, really really good drawing ones, and it's got all the layering abilities and
Oh,
like
good. Yeah.
edits, and you can make animations. And I told my daughter, I was like, if you really enjoy doing this, you
Yeah.
can write your own comic books, and you
Yes.
can write your own. You could write anime. Like that's how
Yeah.
anime is done. Like that's how art
Yeah.
like 2D and 2D anime, good quality 2D anime is done through hand drawn art, um,
Yes.
or digital hand drawn art. And I was
Yeah.
like, you can do that. She's like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And I
I was
do it
like,
like with
yes, good. Go do something fun.
yes.
Like go have fun, and you don't even have to do it as a job. Like that doesn't
Yep.
have to be your job, but that can be something you do just for yourself for fun. Like you can do it and
Absolutely.
just put it out.
And with digital, I mean, I take all the characters I draw and I have files with the transparent background, so you can just reuse it over and over again, and it can be really efficient. So you can provide create a huge volume of drawings and cartoons and
And
things from that.
the app is called Pro Create. Uh,
Okay. Oh, pro. That's funny.
I have to say it specifically because it's not Procreate, it's
I understand.
Procreate, but it's one word. It's a really good app. I really like it.
I'll
You
look
can
for
pay
that.
for like the full version. It's a one-time payment,
Oh,
um,
good. That's
and
better.
it's not like a monthly recurring cost to use the
Yeah, I
app.
don't like those.
Um,
Yeah.
so I like it, partially because of that. But it also gives a lot of really good palette tools. And I use it for some digital art too. Mine is nowhere near as good as my daughter's.
Yeah.
Um,
That's always the way it is, isn't it?
yeah, she's
They
so much
exceed us.
better,
That's what we need.
and I'm
That's
so proud. That's what I want. I want my kid to exceed me, right? Um,
yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's the
so
difference.
I'm gonna switch to the next piece of art because I said I got two today. Is
Yeah,
one from Walter's daughter and one from my daughter.
I
Let's
love
see if the
this one
screen
too.
changes.
Yeah, yeah,
Is my daughter made a beautiful sunrise.
yeah.
Um,
Her blending of colors is looking really good. That's high level. I like it.
Thanks. I
Yeah,
will pass that on to her.
yeah,
She's fully self-taught too. My daughter taught herself how to do all of this. She was like she figured out on her iPad at one point how to pull up YouTube videos on like how to create and how to do blending, how to do all these things. We didn't tell her these were like the
yeah,
techniques that she needed to learn. She was just like, "Oh,
yeah,
how do I make
yeah,
this cooler and
yeah.
better?" And so she started teaching herself, and she's just taken off.
I
It's so amazing.
I love that she used the whole page too, because so often you see, and it's nice, it's a nice little thing, but it's like that whole page, all that white space, you can fill it in and make it beautiful.
Hmm.
Michelle asked, "When did I know?" And she said, "When did both of you and your daughter realize she was a talented artist?" And it's just, I've always sat down and done drawings with them. That's just always been. I remember they were really little, like teaching them how to shade in a circle, and I'm just like, "This is just how you do this." And it's just been. We used to do Calvin and Hobbes pictures. We'll take a frame from a Calvin and Hobbes and just paint it together, and then stencil it in and everything, or ink it in. So it's just such a fun activity, and it's so relaxing. I mean, I always like to doodle, and I doodled in school too. I have my old notebooks all filled up from with doodles from high school, and it's just, yeah,
Hmm.
it's just relaxing. Everybody needs to do it.
Yeah, we used to, or we still do, is we purposely make sure we can get kids menus and
Ah, yeah,
crayons, and that's how we
yeah,
knew. Is my Our daughter would always sit down with the kids menu and crayons, and she would
yeah,
meticulously color the entire piece of
yeah,
paper and do the entire artwork portion of it, and she'd always like find ways to blend the crayons with each other, and it was just natural for her. Like she's
yeah.
just naturally curious about art. um,
Nice.
and
I,
I so we've always known, and we've always encouraged it ever since she could pick up a crayon and draw. She's always drawn and like found a way to make something pretty out of it. And it's very different than how my son approaches art. And I will put up some of his stuff too, because I'm
yeah,
very proud of my son. He's very creative in a different way than my daughter. He's much more analytically creative, like I am. And he's very much as much as he hates it, is he and I have a lot of similarities. And I put my own insecurities on my son, and I shouldn't, and I need to grow from it.
mm,
Um, and I've been growing and working on that. So, and it's hard to parent someone who you feel like is exactly like you, because you're like, I
mhm.
don't want you to make the same mistakes I did, but
Yeah, yeah,
also those mistakes have made me into who I am today. Um, and I can't
yeah,
blunt my son's growth because I don't want to see him get hurt.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and he needs to experience life too.
yeah.
And so I will show my son's art. He does a lot of
Great.
Lego building and a lot of creativity too. And there's so many things he's so proud of for his work. Um, and thanks, Courtney. I've had a lot of
Yeah,
therapy, um,
yeah, yeah,
and it's taken me a while to get here. And for any man out there, go get therapy if you think you need, even if you don't think you need it, because you
yeah.
probably do. Like you don't know how
Talking
to
to
talk
people,
about your
yeah,
emotions, and do a group therapy. It's scary as shit to do a group therapy, but do a group therapy, because then you actually learn to talk to other people who are going through similar problems and who have very different lives than you.
yeah.
And you
And
get a
and
peek
it,
just enough in that you don't have to you don't ever go to therapy to hurt the other person in therapy if you're in a group.
yeah,
And it's so energizing to walk away from group therapy, because you're like, I'm not alone, and I get to
yeah.
talk to others while I'm doing it.
And it's astonishing how often you'll find people who have solutions for your issues and how easy those solutions. It's like almost like, oh my goodness. It's like instantly I feel better about things. And a lot of times just that frustration of not knowing what to do is a big cause of our anxiety. Like just what am I gonna? And somebody's like, try this, and then it's something productive, and then you adapt it and you move forward. But then it goes from being frustrated and I always compare it to like when I lose something, like if I lose something in the house, I'm looking for it, and you can't find it. You're just like, I'm wasting my whole day looking for this thing. So what I started doing was I just started cleaning the house. It's like I'm going to clean the house until I find the thing. Then you're relaxed, and then when you find the thing, it's like, look it, I did two things. I found the thing and I cleaned the house, and so we just avoid that frustration, which just hurts us. And I think we don't give people a lot of tactics for how to avoid those. Oh, there's Ellie. Hi, Ellie. And I saw
Yeah, good
Cat too.
morning, Ellie. Hey, friends. Hey, everyone in the chat. It's so good to have all of you here and all the discussion that's going on today. Like,
Hey, Nick.
as
Oh,
always,
nothing for me. Oh, there it is. I was teasing her. I
these
want to tell one
chats.
last. Can I tell one last story too about drawing?
Oh,
My
absolutely.
kids, when we first got our house, I sat my kids down in front of a wall, and I got a big box of crayons. I'm like, this is the drawing wall, and I sat down with them, and I would always draw dragons for my kids, and I'm just like, when I
Oh,
was growing up, I wasn't allowed to
fun.
draw on the walls, but I'm the daddy now, and we're drawing on the walls, and drawing on. I got a picture of my daughter. She's wearing my shoes, drawing dragons on the wall, and that's just one of my happiest memories.
We have always wanted to, we've always encouraged, we've always like put something on a wall that was drawable, like a chalkboard paint or something where the kids
Yeah.
could purposely draw to. Like, yeah, why not? Like, make it so that there's
Your
a
house.
spot that they know. One, it's your house. And two, if you turn a specific piece of your wall into a known artwork center,
Yeah.
that's where they're going to draw at, like,
Yeah.
because then they want to show it off. And
Yeah.
one of the things we want to do for our daughter's next room, especially now because she's bigger and she knows how to do all these amazing talents, is let her paint a just a mural on her own wall. Like, why not? It's her
Yeah.
room.
Yeah.
It's her artwork. Why not? Oh, and Elizabeth Raven's in our chat too.
Oh,
If
hi,
you don't
Elizabeth.
follow Elizabeth Raven, you should. She's out of Venezuela. Elizabeth, I've been meaning to reach out to you. I want to get you to come on with us here soon, and talk and actually meet. But also, she's in Venezuela. And there's a lot of conflicting reporting that's going on around Venezuela, that we need to be very cautious of how we speak on, because it can inflame a lot of tensions if true is the possible CIA covert operation in
Yeah.
Venezuela to bomb a dock. We don't know. We don't know what happened.
The
Um,
safest thing is to just not believe anything right now, and
yeah.
we got to our critical thinking skills just need to be tested. I think we need to verify things in triplicate, no matter where you
Mhm.
get it from. There's so much false information. Nothing that comes out of the regime can be trusted. The
No.
mainstream media has largely been corrupted. So, you know,
Yeah. And like Donald Trump is claiming that somebody from the US did an operation and blew up a facility.
yeah,
Claims don't mean shit. And that's why when I put out the information last night, I specifically tagged Elizabeth at the end asking, "Hey, have you heard anything about this?" Like, nobody's reporting on this from either. I hadn't seen Elizabeth talk about it, and I hadn't seen Arturo Dominguez talk about it. And those are two people that I know if they're saying something, like, then it's probably happening. So the
yeah,
claim is that the U.S. bombed a dock or struck a dock in Venezuela, um, and blew up a quote drug smuggling facility where they would load drugs onto boats and then put them into the ocean
yeah,
and navigate north towards us. Which
yeah,
also, fentanyl does not come from
yeah,
Venezuela. So the idea that this is a war on fentanyl is fucking horseshit. Like,
yeah.
lies, lies, lies.
They're interested in Venezuela for the oil. So if they talk about
And the
drugs, they're just lying.
minerals.
That just right there is a trigger. They're lying because drugs.
Yeah,
Oh, your kids, the fear stuff. It's like at some
yeah,
point our country needs to be, how about we do something about the awful people or the awful billionaires who are still out abducting and torturing kids. They want to divert from that and talk about drugs all the time. Be
yeah.
nice if they actually went after the white supremacists and the billionaire, you know, child traffickers. But those, the regime never talks about those groups.
Nope, nope. And so, Courtney, my latest, I looked into it a little bit ago, before we came on the show, was there's been no other confirmed reporting. It's just claims. Like, I've seen Reuters write on it, but it's all the
Weird.
same thing at this point. Is Donald Trump is claiming that we blew up a facility. The CIA has not publicly confirmed anything. The military has not confirmed anything. The Venezuelan government has not commented on it. There's no real active reporting in Venezuela about it, then saying that it was, I believe, just a mishap and at the facility. With this, still no reporting.
Getting some
Still, and so
interference.
it's
Okay.
all
Going
claims
back
based reporting.
there.
So, which is why when I talk about it, I'm saying possible,
Yeah.
claimed, unsubstantiated, possibly a lie. Like, we cannot get a
Yeah.
claim on it until somebody claims true credit and proves it that they did it. And if the Venezuelan government's not talking about it right now, like, and the businesses aren't talking about it, it probably didn't happen. Like that,
Yeah.
like, it probably didn't happen the way Trump wants to say it did. He's trying to incite a war, so he needs an
Yeah.
incident that would incite Venezuela to respond back. And the longer they don't respond back violently, there's no way that the U.S. can actively say we're going to invade you. Like, The
Yeah.
Venezuelan government's doing all the right things right now on this. And I don't like Maduro. I don't care for him. But also, who am I to say? I didn't elect the dude. And
Yeah.
there's so much propaganda out there. How do I know that what is being said about Maduro is actually true?
Yeah.
And and so we just have to verify. We have to verify everything that comes out, which
Mary
does lead
made a
us
great comment.
into
She made a great
yeah.
comment there.
Go
It says,
go
"How
ahead.
about fully funding care for our citizens that have substance use disorder?" That'd be a great response to this regime when they're sitting there
Yeah,
complaining about drug use. It's like, oh, can we help our citizens then? And of course, they'll say no, but we have to constantly be on them, constantly expose them. Hey, there's Peter down there.
yeah, and this leads, I think, great into the first note that I'll pull up today, which hopefully there we
There
go.
it goes.
As it lags just a moment, is my note from today, and I'll
Oh, I
get the
saw that
QR
note.
code up
Yeah,
on the screen over my next to my head.
Ellie's in
Yeah,
the note.
this one. Ellie's in this note, and I'm so glad, Ellie, you jumped in the chat. I hope you're still here with us right now for this one. Is so Ellie Leonard, if you are not following her, is an incredible um, investigative journalist. She is doing so much amazing work. She put out 5 days ago, and then 4 days ago I responded to it. Is the discussion of Trump and the death of a baby has come up twice in the files from totally different people who wouldn't have crossed paths and were quoted long before the Epstein files was
Yeah,
news.
this
Keep an eye on this story. I'm guessing there's more to come. My response, oh man, sorry, y'all. Let me turn to my better microphone. Does that sound better for
Oh,
everybody?
that does sound better. That's all right.
All right, my Mac, it picked up my MacBook as the main microphone. I did not notice that. I will make sure to check that beforehand next time.
They got you. That's all right. That's the tech bros. They're after us. It's their
They're
fault. The
after me.
gremlins. You had that
But
gremlin.
yeah, the
See,
gremlins in the
you brought the
system.
gremlin up.
Gizmo's sitting behind me, so I purposely have a gremlin now in the
That caused
system.
that.
My response to Ellie's post, because
Yeah.
that's two independent pieces of evidence in that the FBI knew about and had around Donald Trump and the death of a baby. I didn't
Yeah.
know about this. This
Yeah.
was a baby in, I think it's like Michigan, that was just
Yeah.
dumped and murdered. So here we go. My response: not only is Trump accused of being a pedophile, now there's multiple pieces of documented evidence that he was witness at minimum to a baby being murdered. A baby.
Yeah.
Fuck this guy and the whole network of vile people who allow and protect this type of criminality.
Yeah.
Like, I literally just said what was in my head at that point. Was like, what kind of monster murders a fucking baby?
Yeah.
What monster murders a baby? And then what monsters sit there and let it happen and
Yeah.
don't fucking say anything or do anything?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you are witness to a murder of a baby,
Yep. And it
which
doesn't
means you're an
surprise us.
active participant in
Yeah.
that murder of that baby because you didn't stop it.
Accessory.
And you're accessory to that murder, and you fucking held it. Like, you didn't report, you didn't say anything, you didn't come forward. You don't have to be a mandatory reporter to report things. You, as a citizen, it is your obligation, it is mandatory to report criminality. Like, if somebody is doing something super criminal and you're witness to it, you fucking report it, or you become an accessory to it. That's how our criminal justice system works, like it or not.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
under the desk, Ellie says in the chat, Under the Desk News did a great breakdown of why Trump would be in Michigan in the first place. And I will go read or listen to that. Thank you, Ellie, for sharing that. I like Under the Desk News also. Really reliable source of information, and very human. But like, it's bad enough that this country is being led by pedophiles. It
Yeah.
is worse to think, somehow it's even worse on top of all of this, that they're just fucking killing babies.
Yeah.
How do you support that? Who in their right mind supports that? Please tell me. If you're one of my subscribers who voted for Trump in the past, tell me. Do you support this? Do you
And
support a baby murderer?
yeah, yeah. And it's like it's not a surprise. That guy, the second I looked at his face and heard him talk and the way he bullies everybody around him and he's disrespectful to everybody and he doesn't model accountability. And I've been calling it, we've been calling it pedophile. I've been calling it child torture because they were torturing children on that island. I mean, we've got to say what really happened. And I mean, the I think it was Ellie again who released that prescription medication that they
Mm-hmm.
found, where it was just about like dulling the pain but not fixing anybody. I mean, just the level of awful that we're dealing with here, and just the number of people, the structure in place of people that have to turn their blind eyes to this because there's worse stuff they haven't released yet. I know there's
Oh yeah.
I believe I should say I believe there are videos of these people
Oh,
torturing
there has
children.
to be. There
And
has
I
to be.
believe there's a lot of people in positions to do something about it who have seen
Who
these
aren't?
videos. And one of the things I looked into it, and it's like they were investing this guy going back to 2005. It could be like even earlier than that. They've had investigations. They've had plenty of time. They haven't arrested one person besides Ghislaine Maxwell. You need to arrest
Yeah.
somebody tomorrow. I had a guy, he starts arguing me in a thread. He's like, well, these things take time, the wheels of justice. It's been 20 years. They're still doing it. They haven't stopped it. It's still going on. All these awful rich, you think they quit because there was an investigation into Epstein? There's not. And that ties in to why they took away birthright citizenship, creating a whole nother group of kids that don't have the protection of a nation. It ties into why ICE goes door to door and strips kids away from their parents. They're I mean, look around what's happening. They're abusing, they're torturing children, murdering children. That's what we're being led by.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the
It's
reality of it.
it's I likened it the other day too at the end of our show actually last week was it's like it's slavery. It's child slavery. They're child sex
Yeah.
slaves. They're seen as objects. They're slaves. These kids become slaves
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
tortured and abused. And what else are they? What else are they? They're like that's what it is. It's servitude to these. They're being bought and sold. They're being traded. They have no rights or value or worth other than what this man, specifically white man, says that they have.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's slavery in every sense of what slavery is. It's a power structure, right? Slavery is a power structure,
Yeah.
and they enslave these girls. And I think we're going to eventually start seeing more and more of is that they enslave boys too, and that they did these same acts to boys. And I'm not saying it's worse because boys are involved. I am saying most people will automatically find more disgust in it because boys were involved. Because we never talk about boys being sexually assaulted or sexually abused. We do talk a lot about girls doing it or being abused or having lived through those traumas because it is really prevalent, and that's fucking awful. Like
Yeah.
the fact that we talk about it so often is awful.
Yep.
We shouldn't even have to have these discussions. Oh, Ellie, I have not read what
Yeah. I'll have to look
MTG
into that.
said. I'll look that up when I pull up Walter's note because I think it's going to be probably going to be important while we discuss all of this. But I do know she's really pissed at Trump. Um,
Yeah.
and I do not forgive MTG for any of her actions, and I do not give her any more grace other than
Yeah.
she is fighting for these survivors. For
Yeah.
like her actions are meeting her words right now. She's fighting these survivors, and she's going to create a political opportunity for herself through this. Yes, she's a
Mm.
politician. That's what she's going
Mm.
to do. She is also a terrible human being.
Yeah.
And she's willing to stand up for survivors of abuse very, 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 very openly. And she's a woman doing it right now where
Yeah.
men are consistently telling women to shut the fuck up and get out of the way. And I
Yeah.
think that's wrong. And I think that's awful. And I'm going to switch over to your note because
Great.
your note is exactly about this. Is
Yes.
exactly about this type of thing. So Walter, here's your note. I'll let you read it, and then I'm going to find what MTG said,
Yeah.
or if
Good.
anyone can drop a link in the chat to what Dean posted, and then I'll just pull it up to be able to read it because I think it's important to speak truth and power where it is,
Yeah.
and not forgive people for the things that have caused these things, other
Yes.
things that are auxiliary to this that have caused a lot of this to be allowed in the long run.
Yeah,
But
I'm
Walter,
willing to
here's
give them the opportunity to make amends for their crimes, but I'm not going to just act like all is forgotten because that disrespects all the people that were hurt by their crimes. And that's the real problem we have in our society. We're too quick to pivot and just say, "Oh, these guys are on our side now," when they're all that lingering pain still remains. Today,
mm-hmm,
my article was called "The Last White Supremacy President," and I was yesterday when I was talking to Will Fullwood on our end of the year. I mean, that's what we're looking at. We've been calling him fascist. The truth is, he's a white supremacist. White supremacist is the ideology, and fascism is the tool that's used to implement white supremacy. It dehumanizes people so they can be exploited and abused. I say every billionaire is a symbol of white supremacy, just to exploit people. And so when I wrote this note the other day, that's how I met King Ray Vet. He was so impressed by this, and he was impressed by all the comments. But it says, after this regime is defeated, we have to put the people who are targeted into positions of power. That means we elect women, we elect naturalized immigrants, we elect members of the Black and LGBTQ plus community, we elect representatives from the poor and working classes. We don't elect rich white men. Rich white men have not been targeted. Don't believe platforms that claim they have. And we're already in that era where we're seeing people make that pivot, you know, where the guys who benefited from all the evils that went on, that have been going on, who all of a sudden say they're sitting on their pile of money that's the profits of stolen labor. And every fortune in the United States is derived from stolen labor and stolen lives and stolen property and stolen land. And they're turning and saying, "Oh yes, yes, this guy's awful. Now take me as your leader." It'll be the same as it ever was. And we can look at everything in our society. You look at the positions in our government; they're mainly held by white men. White men are the ones running everything. You look at CEOs; CEOs are mainly white men. You look at where the fortunes are; it's mainly white men. Enough. They're the ones who've caused all the problems. That's plain and simple. It's clear cut. White men are the ones who fucked everything up because they've been the ones in charge. And so it's just a simple idea here. It's like, we're just Gavin Newsom. I'm sorry. You can go be a secretary. You can go to handle somebody's social media network. You can be an accessory. You can be helpful. You don't get to be the guy behind the levers of power. We need people like Jasmine Crockett. We need people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. We need people who know what it is to work in this society, who have actually had to struggle. I mean, there's a whole class of people in our nation who've never once, had to earn a dollar. They've printed the dollars and then dangled them in front of us, and we've had to chase after them and do their bidding, and they've been drunk on that power. And so there's this whole hierarchy of thought, and our leaders are entirely composed of those people that have never had to work, never had to earn anything. They've always been entitled. They never had to become accomplished in any sort of field. They have no achievements to their name, and they sit and give us that Epstein smirk. And Epstein's not the only guy who has that smirk. We see it all throughout, particularly on the right, but especially with anybody with, massive amounts of wealth. And we just need to accept that as we go into 2026, this needs to be our mission statement. We have to obliterate white supremacy. We have to give power to the working class. The people that have done important jobs, people who have been teachers, people who have been secretaries, all these important, hardworking jobs that, are necessary. But we have that entitlement class that knows how to do absolutely nothing. They can't identify with anybody. They have no idea. They really don't even know how much pain they inflict because they have so little interest in the rest of humanity. They have so little empathy. We've seen that for a long time on the right. Something's only a problem if all of a sudden it happens to them. I saw this with what's her name, Meghan McCain. All of a sudden she's like, why isn't maternity leave paid? And she's like, all of a sudden it affects her directly, So now she wants a change. But she'd been an advocate for the opposite for the entirety of her life. She was only handed that position based on the fact that she inherited wealth. She was in a position of inherited power. So we need to turn away from the era of inherited power and inherited wealth that was not earned, turn it over to the people I mentioned in this group, people who have been targeted for cruelty by a government that's out of control, who know the consequences of that kind of evil and will act to ensure it never happens again. That's what we need to do in 2026.
Yep.
Yay!
Yeah, I agree. We need to listen to folks like Danielle Moody, who fucking speaks her mind. Is an incredible, powerful voice here on. I hear her on Substack all the time. She's action focused. She's a woman who knows what the fuck she's talking about. And like Jasmine Crockett, we need her. This is where you sent me something about James Carville being basically part of like now or like hired on to do promotional work for James Tallarico. And I think that's fucking gross.
It is.
I think that's gross because James Carville is a sexist. He is he is a supremacist.
He told Obama to go take a toke on a crack pipe. And we're gonna like just supposed to forget about that shit. And do you think there's people that have not forgotten about that? I'm pretty sure there's people that remember him saying that, and I'm
pretty sure we're saying it right now too.
Well, and they're seeing the Democrats endorse a guy like that, and at the same time to say, "Oh, we're not the party of fascism and racism." Why are you giving money to that guy then? He shouldn't be saying this stuff. And then they push us back on us. Walter, you're part of the problem. You got to get with the program. You know, what do you want? The fascists to win? It's like, well, don't give donation money to a guy who said something like that about Obama. I mean, that's pretty darn clear.
There are promotional advertisements going around from James Carville, and James Tallarico has like accepted him as part of as part of his team, basically. Yeah. There's been a lot of news coming out that James Carville and James Tallarico are more closely working together, and I think that's disgusting.
Yeah.
Like James Carville should be old news, but he's not because we keep allowing him as a democratic institution to stay in the news and stay relevant because they're willing to pay James Carville, who is a racist and misogynist, instead of paying people like Walter or I, or Danielle Moody, or Wajahat Ali, or Qasim Rashid, or any of the men and women out here who are doing hard work, who are doing incredible things. Instead, they're willing to pay for people who want to continue to divide and continue to push for that system of white supremacy, even if they're doing it in an unconscious bias.
Yeah.
Carville is more than unconscious.
Yeah.
And Carville has a conscious bias.
Like, we deserve the opportunity to make these comments, you know, and they instantly silence us. Like the Democrats will not take from us advice on how to actually win. They're like, shh. It's like, look, I'm that blue voice, the blue dot in a red state. I know what the people here think. Quit shushing me. And I made this comment recently, it's like Mamdani won despite the DNC. He won despite what they were doing. They're willing to dump money to risk a race like that. It's a pretty important seat of political power, and the Democrats are willing to risk that. And then that they silence us, where we're not allowed to have, hey, let's have an honest, conversation between equals about what we think here. And Carville's got that same fucking Epstein smirk. He's got that same fucking Epstein smirk. And it makes my skin crawl. And anybody I know, and everybody in the comments, and all the people I know who have had to endure abusive situations, you can't hide that shit. We see it in the way they walk, the way they get aggressive when you push back on their comments, their bullying nature. Democrats can't have people like that in their party. We have to stand up and say we don't want them. People like Tallarico have a responsibility to say, look, Carville, it's inappropriate. You have to at the minimum, you have to walk back those old comments. You have to apologize profusely. He's never held to account. A guy like James Carville is never held to account. And then people like me are attacked for pointing out the fact that when Kamala Harris brought Liz Cheney into her campaign, I winced because I know there's people, and it's like I was going to vote for her no matter what, but I'm not everybody, and there's other people with different perspectives. and they see her walking arm in arm with Liz Cheney, they're going to stay home rather than vote. And look, I'm not sitting there saying it's like, well, then you gave us. I'm not blaming them for anything. I'm just saying that's the way it is. And the Democratic Party has to recognize that's the way it is. Because if you're presenting yourself as allied with the other side, people are like, it's fascism either way. So why should I go out? Why should I waste my time voting?
Yeah. Like, I want to encourage voters to come out. I want to encourage voters to come out because the candidate they want to come and vote for a candidate and make our democracy work. I like James Tallarico's ideas. I think he has a really good view on a lot of things, and he's doing the wrong thing. And we need to hold our politicians to a higher standard, and we need to hold people who run for public service to a higher standard. And we need to remind them that the people are the ones who vote in the end, and that the people are loudly saying, hey, this guy's a racist. This guy has said some horribly racist and misogynistic things. He still advocates for white, basically supremacist powers and power structures by his actions. And you should not be using him as somebody for a voice of your campaign. And if he really wanted to make an incredible statement, and I'm not giving him political advice because I like both candidates. And at this point, I would much rather see Jasmine Crockett win, mostly because I like Jasmine Crockett a lot and I like what she does. And I know she's taken APAC money in the past.
Yeah.
And I do not believe she actively takes any now. From what I've heard, and I may be misquoted, so don't quote me directly on that. I will check the facts on that information. But I love Jasmine, the work she's doing, and she's not actively supporting or promoting white supremacist structure.
Yeah.
She is fighting against it. She actively pushed back all the time against Marjorie Taylor Greene and the MAGA movement, and now whatever they want to call the America First movement. And part of this, I'm going to read, I pulled up the information around what Marjorie Taylor Greene had said, and it's really important in this conversation about breaking down power structures, is according to Marjorie Taylor Greene, Greene was in the Capitol Hill office, and according to a staff member, everyone in the suite of rooms could hear Donald Trump, him, yelling at her as she listened to him on speakerphone. Greene says she expressed her perplexity over his intransigence, or his lack of wanting to have survivors come see him in the office in any way to release the truth. According to Greene, Trump replied, the reason he won't do it is my friends will get hurt.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah,
that is one of the most important things someone has probably ever said. Damning piece of evidence. Trump is actively protecting his friends from being hurt by the release of the Epstein files. Not the survivors, not the victims, the perpetrators. He's concerned that the perpetrators will get hurt, that the white supremacist power structure, this structure of abuse and slavery and continued servitude towards rich white men and or just rich money power and corrupting influences. For us, it's white men in this country. They are the corrupting influence in this country and destroying our society. So yes, not all white men, but enough white men are doing it that until more of us stand up and start pushing back against it, it's all white men. Like we have to be willing to say those things. That all rich, obnoxiously rich white men are perpetrators of abusive systems. All billionaires are perpetrators of an abusive system, whether they condone that system or not, whether they actively want to be part of that system or not. Becoming a billionaire, you have to abuse people along the way, and you get used to abusing people for money. And then
and
they
I've been
become
saying
objects.
I've been saying to people too. It's like this came up in a comment or an article I wrote, Or it's like you have to be actively anti-racist. That's what we need. And somebody in the comments just wrote, it's like, well, uh, winning elections involves building broad coalitions. Many of the people of those coalitions will hold some views you strongly dislike. We can't have racists. You can't build a coalition that will win an election. If we're going to be the alternative to the fascists, we can't have people in there that'll drive people out. And that's the problem with the Democrats is they say this argument, but it's disingenuous because they don't have a
Mhm.
place for me and my progressive ideas. They
No.
deliberately say, you be quiet. And then they appeal to people who say just blatantly racist, horrible, toxic things. And the reality is if you bring in a white supremacist into your tent under the argument you're trying to build a coalition, you're going to drive 100 voters out. And that's what the Democrats are. They keep being cute with their bullshit arguments, but the fact is they're not trying to build a coalition because there's groups they just will not listen to. They will not listen to those of us saying, we demand universal health care. We demand a fair, livable wage. We demand education. They act like, well, that's ridiculous. That's absurd. Instead of listening to that, we're going to appeal to this person, who blatantly says racist things. That makes absolutely no sense. And the other side of all that is the establishment Democrats keep losing. They keep losing. And so
Yes.
anything that they've been saying is a lie because it's false. It's been proven false again and again and again. You have active. Now is the time to pivot. We've had enough of mediocre white men in charge. We
Yeah.
need brilliant people from other groups. Give them a chance. Let's try something new. Let's trust
Yeah.
women to write legislation about reproductive health care. I bet they know a few things that I don't know. And I watched my wife give birth, and I still don't know what that experience was like. It's not for me to talk about. And it's just offensive that we sit here and tolerate that white men get to make these decisions. Are you fucking out of your mind?
Yeah.
So
It's like, so we'll do a really good example because I told you about a little bit before the show that you should watch the today's episode of the Find Out podcast, and I'm totally cool promoting them on my show. Like, they're great dudes. This morning they had an incredible. They released their podcast that they recorded yesterday with Qasim Rashid. It was Tim Fullerton. It's Luke's Last Brain Cell, and Oh That's Rich,
they're
with
great.
Qasim Rashid Esquire and as their guest, and they talked about seatbelts. And because the model of the seatbelt, they found out through through new engineers coming in through different perspectives, specifically
Oh,
from a woman's perspective, they found
yeah.
out the reason that so many women were dying in car accidents and being injured in car accidents compared to men was because the test dummies were only 5'8" to 5'10" male shape. They didn't
Yeah.
account for women body sizes. They didn't account for women's shape. They didn't account
Yeah.
for actual biological and physiological differences. And so women were dying much more prevalently in car accidents until they changed the ability to have adjustable seatbelts and have adjustable height on the seatbelt and the angles so that you can have it hit your body in a much more natural way based on your size rather than it just being one size fits all for a man. Now it's
Yeah.
adjustable because a woman came in and opened their eyes and were like, oh, yeah, by the way, you need to look at more perspective than just yours, dude. Like, that's the thing. That's the whole argument. You just have to look at perspectives outside of yours. And like, I didn't even think about that. Like, who really thinks about seatbelt dummies and crash test dummies and how they test that
Yeah.
until it comes into how it affects you in real life? Like, it doesn't matter what side of the aisle on. You have a somebody in your family is female.
Yeah. Nikki
And
just left me a lovely comment. I just want to mention that. But in addition to what you were saying too, Nick, I've seen it in my own family. Like my mom would be absolutely right about something, and then you get that pressure, the pressure from the patriarchal males. Like, well, that can't be. That's not.
Mhm.
Or like Scott Jennings on fucking CNN. I hate that
Oh, I
guy.
hate that guy. A
He's
fucking
like,
asshole.
well, everything you're trying to explain a completely logical point. He's starting in with his, why, and it's just like that body language where they beat you down. And it always ended because I saw this again and again with my mom, where she would say, I don't think this is a good. I think, well, you do it. And then she'd end up getting hurt by something, or she gets smacked by something, hurt by something. Well, who could have predicted that? I predicted it. I just told you. But the patriarchal men never take accountability for anything. And that's why we always come back to that. Like the pain
Mhm.
in the world that they never have to experience, And then that gets back to my note, because we're going to get to that moment again too, where they're going to start being like, oh, we all of a sudden we understand the pain. You don't. We got to put a whole new generation of leaders in. You got to vote out all those
Mm-hmm.
white dudes. And somebody was saying too, it's like the whole white supremacy thing. I was talking about this with Will. 100% of Americans are indoctrinated with it. That is the cultural identity of the United States. White supremacy, exploitation, this for profit, profit justifies everything. We all think that. I'm not saying this as an attack. It applies to me too. I've spent all of my life since I kind of, hit about 20 and I actually got to a point where I was making my own decisions, peeling back those layers, because there's all these ways I realized I was hurting people by behaviors I thought were just normal human behaviors, and it's not. It's stuff that we've been indoctrinated to believe. We're indoctrinated to think, well, that's just life. That's just the way it is. That's the way it's always been. That's all lies. And we have to deliberately make that effort to reprogram ourselves so that we can be better husbands and better partners and better parents, and better friends. And that's our objective for 2026. We all have to be actively anti-racist. We can't fall into all these ridiculous arguments about, well, all that old stuff that we used to think that sounds good because you're not declaring it. I mean, that argument of we need a big tent, we need people who don't agree with us. You can say that sounds reasonable. But when I say, well, people that don't agree with me are child torturers, we don't want them in our tent, do we? And all of a sudden now it makes sense. So we have to see how there's all this language that disguises the mechanism of cruelty that exists and makes people sound reasonable who are actually advocating for something that just doesn't work for us. It doesn't work. We know it doesn't. Just vote for women if you have no other. It's like, just vote for the women, vote for the minorities, vote for people who've been targeted, who have actually suffered, because people who have actually suffered do not make other people suffer.
Yeah. And I'm not advocating for all white men or women to not run. I'm advocating for the best candidates to win. And those tend to be, at this moment, minority candidates or non-white men, because y'all have more lived experiences than we do in very different ways, and your life experiences have made you into more formidable people. You are much stronger individuals in a lot of ways than I am.
Absolutely.
I haven't had to go
No question.
through many of the oppressions that women have, or even men who are a different skin color than I am. Like, I don't go through those same oppressions. Yeah, I've gone through some before. I'm Jewish. I've heard some pretty anti-Semitic slurs thrown my way. I've been called a Nazi. Like, you know how fucking offensive that is to me? Like, I actively come out and talk, like, I am actively anti-Nazi. I am actively anti-supremacist ideology. Like, you have to be actively anti. You can't just sit back and say, well, somebody else will take care of that. Somebody else will tell them that their behavior is wrong. If you're somebody's friend, if you're really somebody's friend, you call them out when their shit is stupid.
Got my elect women shirt on. That's what I
Yeah, Walter's got to elect women. We should be electing women. We should be electing qualified women. It's
and
not
the
all
bar
women
is
are
so
the
low.
right choice, but there's plenty out there who are. There's way more. Over half of our population in the U.S. are female. Over half. Well,
Yeah, at minimum, that should be the
not have
representative.
over half of our representative body female?
Yeah,
Like,
and
that would make sense. Like,
there's such a low
proportionally
bar.
to our breakdowns, it would make much more sense.
And it's just the bar is so low too, because like I wore this shirt to a demonstration and women were coming up, like older women were coming up and giving me hugs, and it's just like, and it was like, it's nice, but at the same time that just shows how few men are out there, helping out and supporting people. When I helped my I assisted my wife to get her master's degree, and people were congratulating her, because it's like, they were like shocked. It's like, because it's so unusual that husbands help their wives get additional degrees and things like that. So that's what we have to take on. Men have to start being supportive. And if you're afraid to give the people you love power, it's because you're controlling them. I mean, it's like, we have to look into our own hearts and assess ourselves. If they don't have the power to leave you, then you aren't held to a standard of accountability yourself. So we have to ensure that of all the people and all the relationships in our lives.
Yeah, we do. We have to. Like, we have to hold up a standard that is normal again. And most people want that standard too. Most people don't want to live in a standard a society of lawlessness and of chaos and of morally bankrupt behavior because you feel like shit. Like being toxic makes you feel bad. You
Yes.
feel the way that you act in a lot of ways. Your
Yeah.
emotions express themselves in so many ways through physical and
Yeah.
mental um, output. Like there's no other way to hide. Like Stephen Miller looks the way he does because he's an ugly person inside and out.
Yeah.
He's an evil, nasty human being, and he looks like it. Donald Trump looks
Yeah.
like the way he does because he's a nasty human being. I look the way I do because I'm not a nasty human being. Like I I turned 36 years soon. I'm
Yeah.
finally I'm fairly balding, which is a good sign. Losing your hair is not a bad sign for men. In fact, it means your testosterone levels are maintaining themselves pretty high. And it was interesting, Qasim Rashid and Tim and Rich and Luke were talking about. That's why I brought it up, and I know we're staying just a little bit long. If you've got a couple extra minutes, Walter.
I'm
Um,
fine. I'm good. I'm good all day.
oh, awesome! Is I don't have
You can go
anything
sit
right
for another
after.
hour.
Yeah. I have more stuff I'll need to do, and I'll have to step away at some point. But if we want to go for a little while longer, I have no problem.
Yeah.
Um, is they were talking about we need to take back words, and that's
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
Walter and I talk a lot about
Yeah.
too. Is taking back words. You know, the most alpha thing out there is being a man who cares and protects his and uplifts
Yeah.
his family and makes them better. I want my
Yeah.
kids to be better than me. I'm an alpha male because I have high testosterone. My hair is thinning on
Yeah.
the top. It is migrating, and I am an alpha male. Look at my skin. Look, like it's clear. I don't have wrinkles. I don't have fucking breakouts everywhere. I don't look like a worm crawling out of the ground and filled with hate and
Yeah.
like sadness lines.
Yeah.
Walter is an alpha male who sits here and hangs out and loves on his daughter and daughters and tells them how amazing they are and
Yeah.
uplifts them. And that's what we need to do. It's like, yeah, my hair crawled down, as we say in our family, my hair migrated.
Yeah.
And I mean, I have this luscious beard. Like, look at this thing.
Luxuriant. Luxuriant
Luxurious.
spirit.
I'll even
Yeah. But
I'll even
yeah.
ASMR it for a second if you can hear it. Like,
Yeah.
bros, like, don't you want to do that? I've been married for 10,
Well,
going on 11 years here in a few months. Like, I've been married for a long time.
yeah.
Walter's been married for a very long time. We both have happy and stable
Yeah.
marriages because we encourage and we value our wives and we see them as partners and friends. My wife is my best friend. And I
Well,
say that with no reservation because she fucking is. I want to hang out with her all the time. I want to be with my wife. I want to see her get the best and do the best because I want her to excel.
yeah. I
And
want
if
to
that
say,
adds to my happiness, that's awesome.
and I want to say about guys like the look of these Republicans. What they look is they look helpless and they look frustrated because they're trying to control. They're trying to create love through force, and it's leaving them. Because I do feel. I mean, I feel they're all just pitiful. They're pitiable men because they
Mhm.
all want to be loved and revered and respected. They're not. They're not. Nobody close to them. The closer you get to them, the more you want to get away from them. And consider that, because like my daughters, my wife, these are powerful, powerful people. And the effort it would take me to control them would
Oh
be
my god.
more effort than I have. I don't have, and that's what we're living under, though. So much of our society are these just repugnant, helpless, frustrated men because they have not put in the work to make themselves worthy of love. They take all their energy and try to oppress the brilliant people around them. And it's just
Mhm.
like, what if we turned all that energy to our mutual prosperity and we, instead of crushing other people, we lifted them up and we lifted ourselves up? And it's so freaking obvious. And so I
Mhm.
guess that's kind of what gives me hope going into 2026. I mean, yeah, this mechanism of authoritarianism, it's always been kind of lingering in the background. It's had its ebbs and flows, but it's like it always collapses because the amount of energy it takes to maintain hatred ultimately is self-destructive. And like these people, they're just the vile expressions. And yeah, it's like we laugh about Stephen Miller. If Stephen Miller just put on, if he made himself pleasant to look at, if he had kind thoughts in his heart and in his mind, he would be an attractive person. But because he just, it's the hate coming out of him. It just comes out of him like a light bulb. He's like a hate light bulb. His head
Yeah.
looks like a light bulb, but he's like a hate light bulb shining hate on everybody. So he's vile. He is vile. And you don't want to look like that. I mean, have a face. And this is from my teaching days. I mean, on the first day of school, the kids were always nervous, and I've taught a lot of different ages. And I just wanted to walk into the room and make them feel like it was a safe place and just work on your face so you don't scare people. And that's just kind of the thing. Just be inviting. And I mean, it's not always a smile, because a smile can be very intimidating, but you have to. And I always talk about with Lawrence Winterman, that eye smile. You can't fake the eye smile. And you got
Yeah.
it too, Nick. I mean, just you got that face that's an approachable face, because you're not there to control people. You're not trying to crush them, because my daughters are already better than I am. And I think if
Oh
I
my
tried
God.
to, if I started some shit like that, they'd put me in my place pretty quick. And that makes me prouder than anything. My wife too. They'd take me right down and give me a little taste of humility, which would be what I would need, because it would save
Oh
me.
yeah. Yeah. Like it would be like the verbal tongue lashing that I could get, or even the physical lashing that you could get from the women in your life who are powerful is incredible. I uplift my wife because she's an amazing woman. Like she's just an amazing person. And she's going to be like, this is her year. She's grabbing life by the horns right now, and this is her year to excel. And I'm so happy just to be next to her while she grows and does this and the does her life, because we've talked about it and we've encouraged it with each other, and we've been trying to find her path too. Like I have been able to find my path, and go from different careers and do different things and learn across the board, and then all through that time, my wife has been steadily learning and doing different things and exploring her options too. And we've had, I guess, would be considered in, if you want, in a traditional marriage of masculine and feminine roles, because that's where it fell, not because we wanted that. My wife was always going to school and learning. She got a couple jobs. She just never found the job that she loved. She never found the path that she wanted to be on. And now she has.
Yeah.
And now
Yeah.
she's found that path. And I lost my tech job 6 months ago now, and I'm starting to find a new path myself. Um, and I think it's amazing because we get to find that path together, and we're adding to each. This is a phrase I like to use, and my wife and I came up with this one, and I told my therapist about it, and they were both like, "Ooh, I really like that." Both my individual and group therapists was. We like to talk about it where you add to your happiness, somebody's happiness. My wife does not make me happy. My wife does not complete my happiness. I am happy on my own. I'm happy as an individual. I'm happy with myself. I'm happy with who I am as a person. People like Stephen Miller don't like
Yeah.
themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
My wife adds to my happiness. My kids add to my happiness because of who they are, because of their lives, because of what they're doing. Like my daughter's artwork adds to my happiness because it brings me joy to see her creativity blossom, to be able to frame it and put it up on the walls and be so excited. And like we celebrate the little things in our house. When there's little things to celebrate, we celebrate. I'm excited about my son and his incredible thinking and the way he builds with Legos and the amazing creativity he has there, even if he doesn't want to admit it to himself sometimes. And maybe I need to encourage it more and be as optimistic and more optimistic than I have been before, because I also need to learn and be a better parent. And that's part of this process, is seeing where some of my weaknesses are and how do I harden and strengthen my moral and ethical centers so that I can help my kids be better and break generational trauma, as Lawrence Winterman likes to talk about.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that's a big piece of it, is not
Yes.
electing old white men who are
Yeah.
pedophiles or who want to keep the systems in place that are here right now that are holding
Yeah.
everybody back, including regular white men.
Yeah. Yeah.
We are receiving the end result of what these systems were meant to
Oh,
do, which is to
yeah.
punish anybody who's not rich and
Yep.
who's not wealthy.
Yeah.
We
This whole
all have
nation
known that. We've
this
all
whole
known.
nation has generational trauma, and it needs to it needs
Yeah,
to evolve. I mean, what we're
we
doing
literally have 10
reflects what the
years
nation
of
needs. Yeah.
trauma.
Yeah.
Like these past 10 years have just been trauma after trauma after
Yeah.
trauma for people, on top of all of the other years of traumas that have been there. And it's okay if we face those traumas, and we need to face them together
Yes.
and
Yes.
grow from them. And like that's the whole purpose of this, is we need to learn how to grow, and we
Yeah.
need to learn how to talk and talk about our emotions. And like Walter, you're an incredible example of being able to
Yeah.
talk about your emotions. And like I so value getting to discuss this with you,
Yeah.
and these things, because you don't hide your emotions and who you are. You don't hide behind a mask of false masculinity, of this stone faced stoic man. Stoicism is bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stoicism is bullshit like that. Like, you don't have to be this fake
Yeah.
human being. Express yourself.
And that's the other thing. It's like these people want to be loved, but they're too afraid to even show who they really are. And that was actually something that went through my head when I was younger, and I was, because I grew up in this oppressive rural community where it was like the white supremacy mindset was the only thing, and being toxic, and all the other boys would pull on girls' hair and things like that. And I remember just not knowing what to do. I mean, there was the only way I knew about decency was because of the void in my life where decency should have been, right? So you have
Yeah.
to explore that for yourself. And it's just, yeah, you become slowly more empowered. And I wanted people to see what I really was, like that was my aspiration when I was like 10. I want people to understand what I really was. And it's taken me all these years to pull back all those things that are put upon us, all that indoctrination that we are programmed with, that we don't ask for. And it's just one of the things I came away from with my talks with Will. And he gave me permission to say, yes, you too are a victim of white supremacy, because the toxic ideology makes you hurt the people that are closest to you. So we don't have to be defensive and be like, not all white people. We don't have to say things like that. Our objective needs to be to get rid of those toxic thought patterns that make us helpless, because they steal us from being able to find the ways to have stronger relationships. And that makes us feel frustrated, and it makes us hateful. And we have to give ourselves permission to overcome that and just have those strong relationships and support the people we love, because we want to do that. Deep
Yeah.
down, everybody does. And just give yourself permission, give yourself grace to become a better person.
And
The dog. Ruff, ruff.
Kilo, the dog bell went off.
Oh,
Um, the like, yeah, give yourself permission to love, but also give yourself permission to get joy out of it. Let
yeah.
yourself get joy out of the things you do. Don't hold your own joy back. Don't feel guilty if it feels good to do the right thing.
Mm.
Like, I know a lot of us are
Yeah.
taught to feel guilty
Yeah.
about it. Like, it feels uncomfortable sometimes doing the right thing. Don't feel guilty about doing the right things. Don't feel
Yeah.
guilty about living a way that is true to who you are,
Yeah.
true to your emotions and your needs. And
Yeah.
yes, emotions can be frightening to these, quote, big, scary, strong men who call themselves alpha, but it's beta as hell to repress your emotions, dude. Like, only a beta man would hide his emotions because he's
Yeah.
afraid of them.
Yeah.
That's what a beta would be, right? In your own words, is you're afraid. You're afraid of
Yeah.
your emotions, bro. What's
Yeah.
wrong? What's wrong with you, beta male? Like, why are you so afraid of your beta emotion?
Yeah.
Like, It's alpha as fuck to confront your emotions and to accept and work with them. Give me a sec, Walter. I'm going to hand it over to you.
Okay. All right. Yeah. And just the degree of things. I mean, you look at it, you peel away the levels, and we're just getting an idea right now of the degree of rot that they've hidden. We've been talking as these Epstein files it keeps getting exposed just how vile that whole ideology is and how the mindset, and all the corruption. You get to a point where you start getting a little bit healthier and a little bit better, and you look back and you see all these terrible things that are out there, and it's worse than we ever could have imagined. And so I think, as we go into 2026, everybody just give yourself permission to be fearless. Beth mentioned she wanted courses, and that sounds great. I mean, just be in touch with us, ask us the questions. There's things, it's a process. And when I was teaching, it was always, I never like to be the figure of authority. I like to stand in front of my students and say, together we're on a journey together. We're going to learn more together. And that's the same thing is going to apply here as we go forward. The questions I get from you, the wonderful people here, and my wonderful readers, they help direct my thinking to the way we have to fix things, the things we have to fix, things that I haven't seen myself, because my perception of the world is embedded into this recording mechanism of a 50-year-old white man. So there's a lot of things I don't see, and I need all that input from all of you wonderful people. We're going to make progress. It's like this isn't going to go away. It wasn't going to go away. I'm realizing now, even had Kamala won, these problems would still have been there.
Yeah.
And it's just bringing it to a head. And it's like, let's just do it now. Let's just buckle up. Let's get it done. Let's get it fixed. And we have a real opportunity to change, but just don't let those powerful forces pivot so that the same old thing enters into the power vacuum when the current rot is pushed away. We don't want to replace rot with rot. We have to be deliberate. We have to overcome those, and all that programming too, like lines like spare the rod and spoil the child. That makes you feel guilty for showing grace when your child legitimately makes a mistake and you decide as an adult, I'm not going to punish this person. It makes you feel guilty, like Nick says. And it's like I've had to pass through all that conditioning. It's like under no circumstances am I hitting my kids. That's just off the table. And people will come at you for saying that. Even now, they'll say that. It does no good to be like that. And there's structures upon structures upon structures. And I'm finding new ones all the time because it's like we said, this idea of oppressing and controlling the people you love for the sake of the cowardly idea that that's how you preserve love or that's how you get it. It's completely the wrong thing. And this whole nation has been on the wrong path since its inception.
Love, especially to your family, shouldn't, at least your kids and your spouse in my things, is not something to hoard. Love is something that you give out until it's broken. Like if someone breaks the trust of love, that's different. Then you stop giving it out. You protect your emotional sphere of influence. You protect yourself and your emotions too. You have to have your own boundaries. But to me, love is easier to give out, and it's more rewarding and more fulfilling and just simpler to give out love first, and then if it needs to be retracted, then it gets retracted.
Yeah.
Like I tell my friends I love them. I tell my brother-in-laws, my brothers, my sister-in-laws, my cousins, like everyone I talk to, I tell them I love them when I legitimately do, because I do. Like I want to see them succeed and I want to see them better and better themselves and be willing to ask questions and being willing to ask who, what, when, where, why, and how. Just that's it. Just ask those questions over and over again, and your life will probably be better because you'll get some really cool answers that you weren't expecting, and you'll challenge your own beliefs. And someone in our chat said, I think we need to figure out what being, quote, white means and what it doesn't. And it's not always about skin color. You're right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's not. It's not about white people. White people aren't evil. White people have been indoctrinated to think that we need to live under supremacist structures, which is where we then got the other comment in our chat, which is when JD Vance says, we don't have to apologize for being white. He's telling on himself. He's admitting he values the color of his skin more than the content of his character. And I think whoever reminded us all of that quote from Martin Luther King. I forget if it was Qasim Rashid or somebody else who put it out. Is JD Vance is I don't hate JD Vance because he's white. You're right. You don't have to apologize for being white. You have to apologize for the content of your
Yeah,
character, not the color of your skin. Your
he's pitiful.
content of your character fucking sucks, JD
Yeah,
Vance.
yeah.
Like, that's it. Your
And
character sucks.
I've talked about this a lot with Will. Yeah, and what we see is America has this gatekeeper system, and white supremacy is a hate ideology, and we've seen that with various immigrants where they say assimilate, because at times when we were talking with Bob Dana, when the Italians first came here, they're like, you guys are non-white, and once they can assimilate to like the hate culture, the American way of just being toxic, then they're taken in to the group, and we've seen that with all these different groups along the way. And I mean, they're putting this pressure on the Latino community at this point now, and but they want you. What they want you to do is not like we found this with our family. They don't want us to speak Spanish. They don't want us to be in touch with our other culture. We're not allowed to be
Mm-hmm.
multinational, and that's all part of this toxic hate ideology of white supremacy. That's the name for it, and we don't have to be hostile because I don't have to be like, because I'm a white person, I have to feel bad about it. That's what it is. White supremacy is this toxic hate ideology that's indoctrinated into us against our will. We can make the choice to remove it. And the other thing I wanted to say is people who feel self-loathing, they cannot accept love. That is the real issue here. And the toxic hate ideology of white supremacy makes you feel self-loathing. You're never good enough. You should be saying thankful for everything. You should appreciate every opportunity. None of your work is ever good enough. All of this goes on. And I've got to read Kate's comment or Kat's comment. I'll have to go ahead. But yeah, once you learn to put aside the hate ideology of white supremacy, once you learn self-love, once you learn to accept love, you're willing to give love to other people. The love you give to everybody is always good, even if the people you give it to are unworthy of it. Don't let that stop you from giving love. Be a light bulb of love, Don't be that hate bulb like Miller is.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, I love the back and forth in our chat around from neurodivergent hodgepodge and Courtney around assimilate and the idea of that being like the Borg. Let's take some nerddom in here and Star Trek.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
because it makes
yeah,
sense. Like, the future we want is a Star Trek future for our society of like, I like the idea of that utopian style society. I think it's a great goal for us to
yes, yes,
go towards. I think it because it unlocks the potential of humanity. If you notice, the Borg are all white. They're all the same. They're all copies with subtle differences and weird things that have been added and augmented to their bodies to make them more perfect than they were. And they fit this hive mindset of a cult of we must follow and we must be this ideal version of what we believe everything should be. And if you resist
yeah,
us, it's futile. We're just going to attack you. That is literally
yeah.
analogy to white supremacy. Like
It is.
Star
It is.
Trek is an analogy. The entirety of that series, from beginning to end, every single show that Gene Roddenberry specifically did, is an analogy of the time that we were living in. And the Borg
Yeah.
are white supremacists.
Mhm. And remember, whiteness doesn't even exist. It's all a construct. It's all
Yeah.
lies. There are no races. And it's just all these things, layers on top of things that we have to go through in our mind to separate out because they design us. Uh-oh, did Nick freeze up? They design us to make us feel defensive, and they design us to defend things we don't even want to defend, we feel, and all of that's part of this programming. I mean, it's really, and it takes a long time. I tell you, it takes a long time. So just keep being present for these discussions. I've learned so much in this last year. I made an effort over the last 5 years because, I started being an observer to the way my wife was treated with hostility for being an immigrant in the United States. And growing up as a white
Mhm.
man, I was blind to these things. And it wasn't until I could see how she was treated that I really recognized it. And so I regret that I didn't see it sooner, but at the same time, it's like my tools to observe the world were not calibrated to pick up that evidence. And it wasn't until I had somebody I cared about who was being mistreated that I started to understand that. There's a book I want you all to go and read. It's called Calling In by Loretta Ross. She actually quotes me in that book like 3 or 4 times, but it's this really fantastic book where she talks about, and it's a really good model for what we got to do in the future. You recognize, rather than calling people out, you call them in. And it's a lot like what the Democrats are trying to say with their Big Tent thing, but she does it in a way that actually makes sense, where we call people in, but we don't let everybody in just because we need more votes. We help them understand to become anti-racist. We help them recognize these things because they don't realize those things. We don't have to just sit and
Mhm.
tolerate somebody who has racist viewpoint and then be in their company. That's not what we have to do. We have an obligation to tell people, it's like, look, the things you're believing are hurtful. They're causing pain. You don't recognize maybe the pain it's causing, but it is. You are spreading pain into the world and you need to stop, and please stop. And,
Yeah,
it doesn't always work, but if we take that calling in philosophy, we make the world a better place.
we do. Yeah, I like that. Can you send me that so I can
Absolutely.
make sure I put it down correctly in our post show notes? I want to catch that for
Yeah.
people to be able to point them in a good direction because
Oh, it's a
I
great
like
book.
good things and great books and fun readings and and like it's okay to just take a step back and remember you're not the center of the universe. I think that's part of it too, is
Yeah,
reminding
it
people
is. It
that
is.
we're not the center of the universe collectively or individually. Collectively, we might see ourselves that way, and we could collectively move forward that way if we want to. But that's a supremacist ideology too, is thinking you're the center of the universe. Um, is we need to actively confront these structures safely with each other, but we need to be willing to confront them and confront them in your own lives and with yourself. And when you hold yourself accountable,
Yeah.
and this is a big thing that you do without having to say anything to anybody else or always have to, like sometimes you will have to say stuff to other people to ensure that you hold yourself accountable. But if you hold yourself accountable to the actions and the words that you're saying to actively push back against supremacist ideas and
Yeah.
supremacist ideologies, people will notice automatically. Like
Yeah.
it will influence your sphere automatically
Yes.
by
Yes.
confronting those things in your own life and holding yourself accountable. Like us discussing these issues and making sure that we talk about the things that are going on actively that are negative and celebrating the things that are good. We have to do both so
Yes.
that people can see both. We can't model good behavior if all we're doing is tearing
Yes.
down.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
a lot of that's why I love this doing this, because Walter and I spend an hour and a half
Yeah.
not tearing down all the time. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
we do tear down some stuff. We tear down myths and we tear down
Yeah.
power structures, but we don't tend to attack a lot of personhood unless
Yeah.
it's a idea of like, this is what the impact of your hate does to you by physiologically. Like,
Yeah.
you look hateful when you act hateful. You can see it. It comes
Oh
out of you in
gosh.
an aura
Can't
of
hide it. Yeah.
energy. You can't hide being a hateful human being.
Yeah.
Everyone can see it. Just
And
like you can't hide being an empathetic human being who cares
yes.
and actively does that,
Yeah.
because that's just naturally who you are. Let yourself be empathetic. It's okay.
And just it's a question of identity too. I mean, because a lot of people end up defending these things because they're mistakenly believe this hate ideology is who they are. And just you're not the worst thing you ever did. You're more than that. And you can give yourself permission to be greater than you have in the past. I mean, it's all these things. So we don't have to get, because people get really defensive, in comments. And I'll say, white people tend to do this. Well, I'm not all white, I'm white. That's not, I'm not making an accusation against you. Your personal identity is not your whiteness, that's been imposed upon you. Make your personal identity that you love your kids, make that the focus of your existence. You get to make that choice, and we don't give people in our society permission to make that choice. And it's because of this massive white supremacy power structure that's out there. And that's why, like, the most repugnant person in the world was able to get into a position of power, because people vote for that kind of thing without any conscious awareness that they're voting for their own self-destruction. And it's not just the president where it causes problems when you go through the drive-through, causes problems when you wake up in the morning and talk to your kids, or you have parent teachers meeting. It causes problems all the time, and there's always a benefit to you as individuals. So when you're overburdened by the fact that it seems like we're against this incredible structure, just take hope in the fact that through these discussions we can implement little changes that are going to make your life better. No matter what happens in the rest of the world, you're going to feel better, you're going to have stronger relationships, you're going to be a better partner, you're going to be a better person, you're going to give more, than your life will become greater than the sum of its parts if you make love your identity. And that's what we can do.
Yeah, and I want to like maybe help reframe some people's comments in the chat around because Jandro, I want to help you maybe reframe the way you approach it. Um, because you said my friend is a hardcore Trumper living in her house. So far, my conversations with him have been unsuccessful. That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
One, don't come at it as a framing of I'm trying to change you from being MAGA. Come at it from a framing of I just want you to be a better human. Come at it
Yeah.
from I want to see you as my friend or as my self or as my child. I want to see you as a better human. And people
Yeah.
will respond to that much more than you trying to change their political ideology. Politics is downstream from culture. Always has been, always will be. That's why the right has been so successful because they make culture wars. They divide the people and conquer through culture wars. We can come together through cultural solidarity and cultural unity and
Yeah.
cultural want and desire to grow. That could be our cultural identity rather than oppression and imperialism and supremacy. We have the power as collective, as a community, because that's what a democracy is community at scale. Is if you come out and be your authentic self, who you are, show love, give love, and try and approach conversations as I want to make you a better human because I want to be a better human too. And I want you to join me on this journey of being a better human. People will respond much more kindly to that and they'll be much more willing to listen to what you have to say. I wrote an article about a year ago now on Substack. It was one of my first articles and it was called What's Love Got to Do with It? And all it is about is I love someone in my family unconditionally just to love them because I love I love them. I don't want to push them away. I don't ever expect anything in return. I don't try and change this person who they are. We don't argue about issues. We talk about things. We discuss them in depth. We will have conversations that are meaningful, but we just want to be better humans together and we want to love each other because we're part of the same family.
Yeah.
And I only get two brothers in my life. And one of them I have a much better relationship with than the other. And I would like to hopefully have a great relationship with both. I don't agree with either one politically, not because they're both MAGA and not because they're both ultra progressive or ultra liberal, but because we have differences of opinions. And everybody knows who's on this pretty much knows where I fall. I'm a very progressive leaning individual. I want progress, not for the sake of progress, but because it makes us better. I want us to progress towards a better end goal, a more perfect union, just like my brothers do.
Yeah.
We go about it differently and we can have conversations because I'm not trying to make them either not MAGA or not liberal or not whatever. I'm trying to encourage them to be a better human themselves so that we are on this journey together because I love them and I hope I can reach back out to one of my brothers and help fix a relationship that is just fallen apart and isn't because we don't like each other, we just don't talk.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas
Mm-hmm.
the other one I talk to a lot. Why? Because it's love. because I just wanted to give love to my brother because I didn't know him growing up as a kid, and he missed 14 years of my life as a young adult,
Mhm.
um, because of a stupid, unneeded feud that I wasn't even a part of, um, and through an abusive spouse that hurt my brother. And we've reconciled that relationship in a lot of ways. And I talk to him almost every week. Like,
Yeah.
I try to talk to him every week, every other week at the minimum. Why? Because I fucking love him. He's my brother. And I want him in my life. And we can talk about things because we're not trying to hurt each other's personhood. We're just talking about ideas. Like, I don't, and yes, in the chat, I've seen people say Nick doesn't punch or Nick doesn't attack very much or ever. Oh fuck yeah, I do. When I need to, I punch up. I don't punch down. I don't punch down on marginalized communities. I will never punch down, and I
Yeah.
will always hold myself accountable for it if I do. I do punch up.
Yeah.
I punch up and I talk very fragrantly about some of these men, and these power structures. And I always punch up because that's how you do it. And just so you know, the only way to really take out someone's testicles is to punch up. You have to punch up to hurt them. And so my goal is to punch up at the men specifically who need it, who are
Yeah.
abusing these power structures and abusing other people, like Stephen Miller, like Pete Hegseth, like Donald Trump, like JD Vance. I punch up at the fragility of their false masculinity, which is just
Yeah.
abuse. And I don't punch. One of the ways I do not punch down is I do not refer to men as women's body parts in a derogatory way. And that's a simple change that you as a man can make. Is if you want to punch at another man, is you use a male body part to do it. You call them a testicle, you call them a penis, you call them a taint,
Yeah.
you call them smegma. Smegma is that yeasty substance that sits on the tip of a penis that is uncircumcised.
Oh
It's
boy.
gross. Like, you can make fun of these men and punch up at them without hurting women. Like,
Yeah.
Walter
Yeah.
and I have some really fun jokes sometimes, a lot of times. Like, I have where oh, and good news, now that it's the just about to be the new year. We've been here for a while. This is our end of year show. It's longer than usual. Um,
Yeah.
is we're also going to call out or shout out the fact that we're working on starting a new show.
Yeah.
Every other week, we're going to work on doing a show with myself, Walter Rhein, Dr. Eric Lulov, and Evan Fields for just a masculinity talk,
Yeah.
and a bro show or scholar warriors and whatever we want to call it in the end. We we're doing more shows because men need positive examples and there's a void of
Yeah.
space that we need to fill to give that example. Yeah, smegma is a nasty word, and it's what Stephen Miller is. He is the
Boy.
smegma of human beings. He is gross. He looks like it. He's fucking gross as a human being.
Bro
Um,
talk. Yeah.
and we've had trans men as guests, on our shows,
Yeah.
on
They're very
some of my
welcome.
shows
Very
before.
welcome.
I welcome every man. I don't differentiate. If you're a trans man or biologically born man, I don't care. If you're a
Yeah.
man, you're welcome. Like, that's isn't that the inclusivity that we all I don't want to differentiate. I don't want to have to make someone called out on their section, on their gender orientation. I don't want to have to,
Yeah.
or gender assignment or whatever
Yeah.
gender that you may have. That's not that's not masculine.
Yeah. Well,
It's not
shaming.
masculine
Yep.
for me to have to question your identity and make you and shame you and make you prove
Shaming over
yourself.
sexuality is one of the pillars of white supremacy because I mean that
Yeah,
those feelings of sexual arousal are very powerful. Feelings of guilt are very powerful. So they misuse it, and we need to have
yeah,
honest conversations. I want to
yeah,
congratulate everybody in the chat, though. I mean, I've been kind of scanning through the comments, and I mean, we've been talking about things in a lot of general ways, and these have been hard topics. And a lot of times we could probably, a lot of things that have come up in the chat are things we could have spent an hour talking about. There's a lot of specific scenarios and things we need to discuss. And Nick and I are both always open to that. I mean, we're still the smaller tier of Substacks. I'm super happy to receive your messages. I will respond. Unlike, a lot of the bigger ones, they don't have time for that. I do. I want to hear if you have specific questions that you want us to talk about, whatever insight we can give. You don't have to take it as, the absolute truth, but I'll have an opinion on things that's based on experience and then based on a certain amount of success. And it's always based on kindness. And so, yeah, I mean, just thank you for always being here. If we say something that it's like it hits, because sometimes these hard topics, you say it and it stings. And I've felt that sting too. But I just encourage you all, rather than blocking me if I say something like that, reacting and blocking me, just take that extra second. Let's have that conversation about what it is. If I don't answer you in a way that you feel is acceptable, block me then. But just give me that 1 second, that one little, just hesitate a little bit, because our whole society is built to divide us, separate us. That being said, when people are coming into your chat, leaving just blatantly racist topics, yeah, just block those guys. But you should
Yeah.
know at this point, where we are trying to do better. There's a lot I don't get right. I'm very willing to accept that. Nick's called me out. It's good,
Yeah.
and it makes me a better person when I hear that's not right, and then I implement those things. And it does. You can't. It's not like he just tells it to me and then I implement it. It takes a process sometimes. Sometimes it takes 3 months to fully integrate that new philosophy with my being. And so along that time, I need support. And so we're here to provide that support. Reach out to us. Keep coming in. And again, I applaud you all for being here. This has not been easy.
Yeah.
We've covered hard stuff.
Yeah. And well, I haven't paid attention at all to the size of our show today until it got pointed out in the chat. There's over 500 of you
Awesome.
with us right now.
Big day.
Like,
Appreciate
help
it.
us make it to over 1,000 per show by the end of January. Not because I'm selfish. Yes, it does sound egotistical. I would love 1,000 people at my shows because it would be awesome. But also because then more men will get exposure, more women, more boys if they need it at some point. Hopefully, men. My audience is like, obviously kids are welcome in our discussions, but this show is not a kid show. This is for men to confront themselves, and that can help teach your kids downstream. Like, there are downstream effects to every good action you do. I know I deserve some kind of ego. I am very careful about talking about myself because I have been very egotistical in my life at times, and it's cost me a lot when I've done it. And I know to not be egotistical. It's something I've trained myself to, and I'm very humble about a lot of stuff on purpose too. One is to show men an example of what it can be like to be humble and be very successful at what you do, and not put yourself as like you have to be this forceful figure always to be correct. It's just be correct by your actions. And so I've humbled myself, and it's hard for me to give myself an ego nowadays because I really don't. It's not about me. I love all of this because I get to grow with everyone here and I get to have these awesome conversations. So I appreciate all of you. My friends always tell me, like, take some credit for the work you're doing. I do. I do. I feel really good. I feel really good about myself and the things that I'm doing. I feel way better than I did 6 months ago. I am less toxic than I was 6 months ago. I am much happier. I'm much more open. I'm much more appreciative, and I'm willing to learn more. And yeah, maybe it is leading by example, of what we're doing, and that's the point. Is you can be authoritative without being egotistical. Is I think what I'm trying to find a balance of is how can I be authoritative and know that I'm the right or in the right without being egotistical. And what's that balance point? And how do we do that so that we can show men that you don't have to oppress people to prove that you're right? You don't have to oppress people when you're wrong. You take onus and you take accountability. And I take pride in what I do. Like, I give myself a pat on the back all the time. I feel really, really good, and I feel very fortunate to have found this community and
Yes,
to
yes,
be able to discuss these things. And I'm fortunate I have a spouse who encourages me and is very happy and that I'm doing this. It's also been really good for our marriage because I get to talk about all the political things that are on my mind and the things that make my wife anxious. I get to
yeah,
do it in a way that isn't spewing information at her and taking from her happiness, because that's what I
yeah,
was doing. It was a selfish thing to just spew political stuff towards my wife because it was taking from her happiness. And so I get to now do it here where I don't take from my wife's happiness. In fact, I add to it because I get to be better at
yeah,
home and more aware at home and more present. And
yeah,
that's really the big thing for me is I feel the rewards and I see the growth too. Like, it is coming back to me and I see that growth. Like, I've had conversations with Lev Parnas like 3 or 4 times, and in the live conversations in the past like week and a half. I talk with Dean Blundell and Zev Shalev and these incredible other male creators too, like Chris Goldsmith and Evan Fields and Dr. Eric Lulov. And we have our and Tim
Eric is so great.
Fullerton, and like, we have an incredible group of men who are stepping up to the plate and who are saying these things and are amplifying. And I'm so glad that so many of you are here with Walter and I today, because you could be with other people. There's
Yeah,
incredible other creators who are probably on live right now too, but you're choosing to spend your time with us. And that fills me and adds to my happiness and helps encourage me to come back and do it again. And you know how I know it works is because every show, more of you guys show up, more folks come
yeah,
in. Your conversations in the chat are incredibly valuable. We encourage it. And none of y'all have abused the chat. Nobody's in here abused.
yeah. They've been really nice.
500 people, and nobody's abusing the chat in any way. People are not attacking each other. There is no negativity. There are discussions going around. There's no negativity towards each other. There's discussions around our topic and engagement, and people seem to care. People seem to want to engage in this discussion, and that makes me feel good, and I know that. Like, I'm okay with admitting that. Like, I feel good at the end of these conversations, and I
Yes,
tell Walter that every time too. Like, we end
yeah,
these conversations and we're like, "Hey, Walter, I thanks. This was so much fun. You centered
yeah,
me. Like, I feel really grounded after this." We do it
yeah,
almost every time.
yeah,
Not because we have to thank each other. We're friends.
yeah.
And
And
friends
that
boost each other.
Yep, and getting rid of that frustration, and like the anxiety and oh my goodness. I mean, how many notes of the week we'll have to count up how many there's been because and it's almost sad. It's like this is the end of notes of the week for 2025, but we'll be on to the next season, season 2 of notes of the weeks coming in
Maybe
2026.
maybe I'll change it to season 2 when I put out the podcast for this one. Is we're now I'll have to break it actually into its own section. I think I'm going to put this into a section on Sick of This and see, so I can actually get
We
creator
should
stats around it.
We should
Um,
put up a what do you call it? Where people can leave their comments like a Google form and people can leave
oh yeah,
questions for us to
feedback.
address. That would be a nice thing just to direct people to and they can ask for clarifications too on something we said because sometimes we don't get to see it in the chat and the interaction with you guys. I mean, it's all about community, and that's why. I mean, had it not been for Substack and the lives, this would have been a hard year. And the silver lining has been this. And I appreciate you so much, Nick. It's been great becoming your friend this year. And I appreciate that you've created this space for us so that we can take our anxiety and our frustration and forge it into something productive and positive and make ourselves better. So, despite all that pressure that's coming down on us, it's forging us into something stronger. And all you wonderful people in the comments, oh, thank you so much for being here and making it feel like it's important. Like we are changing things, we are making things better. There's not too many examples of positive talks like this. That's just not what it is marketed in the United. And it's by design. Everything's part of that structure that makes people frustrated and divided. And we're trying to
Mhm.
change that. We're working against it. I feel like we're making a distant difference. All you people here help. And again,
Yeah.
thanks, Nick. It's been wonderful this
Yeah,
year.
it's been so nice. Thank you, Walter, for accepting my that first invite or what however we met. Um, it's been such a pleasure becoming your friend over these past weeks and months, and I'm so excited for the growth of our friendship through this next year, um,
Yeah.
and the growth of our community and the growth of the folks who are here with us. And what you
Oh,
can do is just spread this, share, like, restack, and we've had
yeah.
some really interesting comments that I want to address real quick before we close out our
Awesome.
show. Um, is from Courtney. Yes, I would really appreciate if you wanted to make that form,
Oh,
contact,
wonderful.
just message me, and we'll get it linked up so that it's easy
Awesome.
for Walter and I to be able to get those responses, and view them. I so appreciate that offer. Thank you, Courtney. You're so amazing.
Awesome.
And another earlier question from Courtney: if anyone wants to pull out quotes from, say, these shows and help us design t-shirts, I would
Oh,
not be
yeah.
opposed, or like coffee mugs or things like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
I would not be opposed to creating a merch store. I'm not here for your money, which is why I don't have merch stores. Like, I don't, that's not the big thing that I care about. But if you guys want stuff like that, then yes. I mean, I'm not going to say no if that's what you
Yeah.
want.
I'll be
Like,
excited to hear what ones they think are the worthy ones. I hear that a
yeah,
lot.
like,
Where people are like, "That'd make a good T-shirt," but it doesn't go through my mind much. So that'll be interesting.
yeah, just like if there's quotes that you guys pull out that you really like, that everyone that
Yeah.
you find really cool, we'll even maybe we can add them to the Google form, like after, um, have a special form on like what are your favorite quotes that we could put on a shirt or something. And then yeah, maybe part of it is, instead of us making a ton of money off of it, we make a small enough amount off
Yeah.
of it that we're paying the bills for it. And then 99% of it, whatever's left, goes to charity or a donation that we all care about,
Yeah.
or a organization
Progressive
that we
candidate.
care
Yeah.
about. Um, and we make a difference. We become the networks and the action systems that we so desire. Like, we're
Yeah.
on Banner and Backbone. I'm doing a lot of promotion for the Ukraine GoFundMe's. I know, Walter, you had Kryn Johansson, I think I said his name right, reach out
Her. Yep.
about.
Her. Yep. She had a thing for a family she sponsors in Gaza. So yeah, that was important.
And so I'll add that link here too, into the post show notes also, is so that if you can
Yeah.
donate to that family and help support, like that money's going to make a difference. And it's also why we have the Feeding America links. Like, those are ways you can support outside of paying me. Those go directly to help people. But if you guys, if folks want us to start doing some merch, for some of the shows that we have, I've talked about it for like the Chronically Illing Out. If we want to do it for Notes of the
Yeah.
Week and some quotes, like, absolutely, I'd be happy to also donate a
Yeah.
lot of it, because I
Well, it'd be a good
once I have
talk.
enough to live, I don't need any more. And once my
Yeah.
like I don't need to hoard wealth. I'm not a dragon.
Oh gosh, yeah, but we're both kind of still at that building stage. I mean, yeah, I
Yep.
mean, honestly, yes, a few more subscriptions would be great. But I mean, the t-shirts would be a wonderful way to start conversations too, and it
Hmm.
would be super helpful. I mean, all of you here, if you consider yourself, you're part of a community. This is part of a community. We're trying to fix things. We're trying to make things better. I've seen too many kids as a teacher. I've seen too many kids who are being mistreated by their parents, and there's not much you can do other than to you in the moments you have those kids to be kind to them, show them a better way. But the more we can just kind of spread this, and so all of you, if you could share the those little clips, those AI clips, share them on Substack, share them off Substack too. If we can bring more viewers in from off the platform, that'd be good.
Yeah, share
I
them on, if you want to download them, share them on TikTok and
please do, please do.
tag me. Share them on
Yep.
Instagram and tag me. Like, That's fine. I don't care. Share our work. We
Oh,
want you
please,
to.
please do. It
We
helps so
want, we
much.
highly encourage it. Like, just tag me. If you're, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Blue Sky, I'm on,
Yeah.
I'm not on X anymore because I fucking hate that
No, I've deleted
platform
that
and I
on the
don't
day of the
support that
election.
shit. But like, let's use your money where you find it important. But also, like, just come hang out, keep spreading the word because
Yeah.
that's really the most impactful thing. And to help close our conversation out, because we talked about it,
Yeah.
is how do we support each other and how do we support our work and how do we spread our work? Well, one is become a free subscriber.
Yep.
Subscribe to Walter. If you're on Substack and you have not already subscribed, hit the button in the top left hand corner of your screen to subscribe to both of us.
Yep. Awesome.
And if you're on another platform or you want to just scan the QR code here, come subscribe to Walter specifically at I'd Rather Be Writing because he would rather be writing. And he writes really, really cool stuff. He also dictates the articles, and it's really nice to hear it in Walter's own voice because, Walter, you have a great voice for radio
Thank you.
and a face for TV.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
that's nice of you to say. I've
and
been
so
doing
you got
a records
both.
book too. I've been narrating or a chapter, but I've been busy with the holidays. But it's been really fun to read her book as a way to promote. And yeah, I mean, and if any of you want to upgrade to paid, I think you're I wonder if sometimes I think there's some risk you don't get the emails if you're not upgrade to paid. But on any article, I have a whole tier. You can pay whatever you want down to $20 a year. That would be just awesome. Every little bit helps so much. And again, we don't have any marketing team behind us. Everything is organic with us. And so you guys,
Mhm.
that means it's on you. So grassroots, anybody you can bring to come and listen and be part of this community will keep having more and more power. It's amazing how much bigger we've gotten since the beginning of the year. And I just feel like we're going to keep it going. So it's all up to you guys though. And we thank you so much for all your support.
Yeah. And it's so important to become at least a free subscriber because then you do get the emails. And Walter doesn't paywall anything. Um, and I'll move over to mine too. Is I don't paywall anything either, except for one thing right now, which is not information content. I have one music piece of composition that I have released so far that is behind paywall until I reach 250 paid subs. I did that just as a incentive, and then I'm going to keep releasing music every 50 more paid subs after that. But it's when I release them, starting after this first piece that I had released, they will always be free when they get released. Just like all my other information. I don't hide behind the paywall. I think the paywall sucks. And I offer a lot of discount right now. Like right now I have a sale going on. It ends tomorrow. So if you want to wait to be able to pay full price, which I don't mind if you do, um, wait till the 1st of January and become a new paid subscriber if you want. But if you can't afford the full price, that's fine. I have sales that go on. I have two sales that are always going on for 60% or 50% off, which makes it basically like $2 or $3 a month. Like not even. And I just come
Yeah.
help me support because every dollar really
Yeah.
for as we're building right now matters because it's all going back into our business and to our families.
Yeah.
And I have a buy me a coffee link. It's linked in my I link it always in the show notes. Um, and so if you want to support in other ways, donations like that through Buy Me a Coffee, that sounds great.
Yep.
I appreciate that. If you can't, that's also fine. Like just be a free subscriber. You get all the emails, you get all of the
Yeah.
information, and then share it.
Yes.
And we've gone for 2 hours today
Yeah.
without any issue.
Yeah.
Like
It's
this
been
has been
great.
such a great conversation. Um,
End of the year
is
vibe.
is a great way to end the year, and it's a great way to say we're coming back next year. We'll be back next week um, to start out the new year and start on a fresh foot.
Yeah.
No, I don't know how to knit. I can do a lot of things,
My kids do.
um, but I don't know how to knit. I do write music. I do know how to sing. I do know how to play instruments. I can't
How are you
dance. I'm really
dancing?
bad at that.
Oh,
Really
I'm
bad
a
at
great
that.
dancer. You can't have a
A
Latina
terrible
wife.
dancer.
You can't have a Latina wife and not be able to dance.
Oh yeah. See, I am a terrible dancer.
I'll teach you. I'll teach you. We'll dance together. It's all in the
I,
hips. That's where the
hey,
trick is. It's all in the hips. It's not in the steps. You can keep your
if
feet on
I
the
could
ground.
learn, I think my wife would be so happy. It would
She
add to
would.
her
She
happiness so
would.
much. Um, so I appreciate all of you. Thank you, everyone, for being here. We're closing out the show with almost 600 viewers. We're at
Yay.
584 on Substack. Like, thank you all so much for being with us. I hope everyone has a happy
Me
new
too.
year, and spend some time spreading and increasing the size of your emotional sphere of influence. Increase your sphere of influence one person at a time, one little bit of love at a time. So thanks everyone. Thanks Walter. This has been so much fun. You guys are all awesome. Everyone's amazing here. Thank you. Look forward to seeing you in the new year, everyone. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you, everybody.